And the two of them came together like that, the blue one and the red one. They came together, and when they got close together, they stopped for a second, and then one shot off that way, and one shot, the red one shot that way, the blue one shot that way. And I was saying to the person alongside me, look at that crack there. And they could see it as well. So what the fuck is that? I said, I'll tell you what it is, some kind of unidentified aerial phenomena, because there ain't no stars moving across, and they're not airplanes. No, just a blue light and a red light was two different crafts. I mean, if you look into the sky any night, I do a lot of looking into the sky. Pick a clear night, look up at the sky, and I guarantee you, if you're willing to spend an hour looking into that sky, you will see stuff you cannot explain. Right lads, so I was on fishing. So let's stop off for a little break and a little chat. Under a bridge here, near the cars come over. Over here on the Newport River, great salmon river, fished there all my life, great salmon river. But I was watching documentaries lately about UFOs, and I've always been into UFOs in the paranormal, as long as I can remember. But in 2017, there was a chap working for the military in America, and he decided to resign because he couldn't talk about what he wanted to talk about when he was working for the government. You know, a lot of stuff he can't talk about is still classified. But basically what happened was, you might have heard of the gimbal and the tic-tac. The U.F.O, they call them the tic-tac because it looks like a tic-tac, and the gimbal because it looks like a gimbal, right? But really you can also see that gimbal could look like a flying saucer, a disc with a dome on top and a dome on bottom, so I don't know why they call it a gimbal. But they don't call them UFOs anymore, they call them U.A.Ps, unidentified aerial phenomena, and then you have U.S.Os, underwater submerged objects, right? So U.S.O and U.A.P and U.F.O, call them what you like, but they're here. And they've been here all the time, and a long time. So the release tape there, some video footage was released in the media there in 2017. And Fox News was one of the first news channels to have it out there. That the military were admitting that there's things flying around the atmosphere, and there's nothing they can do about it. They're not theirs, they're not any other countries, they're not the adversaries, it's not technology that they can have. So basically one day they were on the Nemesis warship, it's a battleship, and they were out in Guatemala doing some exercises, the American military was, in 24 now this was, and then again in 2014, but in 24, and over a few days they were seeing a lot of getting a lot of strange hits in the sky. But so one of the comms officers, the fellas over the comms signal officers, or the fella in charge of the ship, after 4 days he decided to send two little trout after jumping down there. Two MiGs, I think they were MiGs anyway, F-16s or something like that, but they were the two top fighter jets that they had. So they sent them out to track one of these things that was on radar. You see what happened first was, the radar was picking up a fleet of signals around their training ground out in the ocean near Guatemala. And so after a few days anyway, the comm man or the top man said, look, send two fighter jets up there to intercept this and see what them things are. So up goes the two fighter jets, and they come on to what's known as what they call a tic-tac. And as they got closer to it took off. Now they could see that this thing had no wings. And then when they put on the heat sensor to pick up the afterburners, there'd be no heat signal. So obviously it wasn't producing thrust the way all airplanes we know produce thrust. You either have a propeller or you have jet engines, and the propellered airplane won't travel at the speeds a fighter jet can travel at, alright? Propeller airplane is supposed to go up to about 500 miles an hour, if that. That's what a jet can get up to Mach 2, Mach 3, sometimes faster. But the moral of the story was anyway, when they got up trying to catch up with it took off at 30,000 miles an hour. From literally stationary to 30,000 miles an hour that way, 30,000 miles an hour up, 30,000 miles an hour that way, 30,000 miles an hour down. And the comm man, or the signals man, the captain, he was one of the top knocks. He was the man that said, get out there and see what's going on up there in the sky. He said it was raining UFOs. Raining them, they were coming down into the ocean. Now, were they coming from space, going to under the ocean, or is home under the ocean? And these things are not from space at all, but they're from under the ocean. And everyone thinks they're from space because they can shoot into the atmosphere. But it's their real dwellings. Maybe people shouldn't be looking up. Maybe people should be looking down for these things. So basically they're trying to bring it out to the world that there's... And then in 2014, they went over to, where did they go? Over around Syria, some ocean over that way. And they said that them tic-tac UFOs, and they looked like a big cube. It either followed them, it was either tracking them, but as soon as they got over there and they started taking off the ships near Syria, I think it was in 2014, the tic-tacs were up there again whipping around the sky, and the cube-like objects, these things are 30, 40 foot long cubes, no, like they're a square, they're whipping through the air at 30,000 miles an hour. So there's nothing that the American military have, or anyone have in the world that can travel at them speeds. Go from stop to literally 30,000 miles an hour from a standstill, from a hover, with no afterburners, with no heat signature. So they're trying to bring it out to the world now. They're saying, oh, the world needs to know like that this is going on. And we need to do something about it. But when your man went to he brought information to the top people in the Pentagon. And the people at the Pentagon, some of them at the top, were saying, don't have nothing to do with them things. We don't want you following them, we don't want you intercepting them, which they can't anyway, because these things go like that. Stationary to 30,000 miles an hour, straight up or straight down or left or right. And the inertia, they can just 30,000 miles an hour, they'll come to a stop, 30,000 miles an hour that way. If there was a human being in it, we'd be turned to jelly. Right? There's nothing we could do, nothing. The only way you can move that fast is if you have an anti-gravity field around you. Something that you can stop the gravitational effect and the inertia affecting you in your ship. Then you could do that and you wouldn't feel nothing. Kind of like in a car, you're doing 100 miles an hour, you don't feel nothing, you're cruising around, but if you open the window and blow your hand gets pulled back. So while you're in that car, you're kind of in a bubble. So if you had a craft that could kind of do the same thing, an anti-gravity aircraft, well, you'd be able to whip around too. But we can't do that, we haven't the technology. Far, far from it. And or no military in the world has. So basically, what happened was, in 2014 they were following around out there with the Gulf, and places like that, when they were out attacking Syria. And now they want to bring it to the world. They say like, why wouldn't the world, like why aren't there the people listening? But of course, as I said, when they got it to the head people in the Pentagon, they said, we don't want you following them things, that they're satanic. And your man says, like, oh, I don't believe in that Christian stuff, they're satanic. And he said that there's people at the top in the Pentagon who are Christians and they believe these things are satanic. And he goes, I don't think they are. And he wants to do something about it. But the truth to be told is, what's the point in telling the world? Because there's nothing you can do about it. These things can take you out in a second. You understand? You can put up all the MiGs you like, all the fighter jets, all F-16s and what you like into the sky. And one of these tic-tacs can circle your plane while you're doing Mach 4 that way. These things whipping around your airplane as you're flying around in your fighter jet. It can take you out and it fires out balls as well just to whip by you. They wanted it, it can shut down your electronics. So wherever they are or whatever they are, U.A.Ps, unidentified aerial phenomena or U.A.Ps, they want to bring it out and they want to do something about it. But there's no point in bringing it out. I mean, it's out now, like the world knows these things are there. Unless you're sleeping under them stones there in the rock or you're living under the river, you might know this if you're a fish. And then of course if you're in the sea you would, because these things go straight through the sea. And they can come down straight into the sea and shoot along at 60 knots. Now we're not saying that's the speeds they want, they probably can do a lot faster. But 60 knots, twice the speed of any submarine in the world can travel. So they could probably go a lot further. They just go double the speed and you won't catch it in your subs. But no one knows who's flying these things. No one knows if there's aliens in these, or biological creatures, or robots, or man from the future, or man from the past, or whatever. But he's saying that people need to know about them so we can do something about it. But there is nothing they can do about it. Nothing. They have the capability. You going up against one of them is like the Wright brothers when they first flew an airplane, going up against a MiG, M16 MiG, or a, whatever they call them, fighter jets, can't think of the name off the head. Or a rat, or a Harrier, or a jump jet, or anything like that with technology that's off the chart. Well, your MiG, or your Harrier jet, is like the Wright brothers going up against them, right, in their bicycle airplane. So, enlightening the world of these things, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference, because people are just going to have to live with it then, aren't they? They're going to have to live with it. There's crafts, U.A.Ps and U.S.Os, underwater submerged objects, flying around the oceans. There's U.A.Ps, unidentified aerial phenomena, whipping through the skies. They can shut down the nuclear power stations, they can shut down all the nuclear weapons, they can fire lasers down on top of them. They have free range of the airspace. There's nothing no military in the world, China, Russia, America, even if they got together, can do about it. Nothing. So the real question is, instead of saying, oh look, we see these as a threat and we need to do something about it, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? There's nothing you can do. Even if we tell the world, you're just going to have to live with it. But as I said, funny enough, some people at the top in the Pentagon said we don't want nothing to do with them, that they're satanic. But he don't want to believe that. He said, no, they're just mad Christians, saying they're satanic. Well, as I said, you see them in the sky, they're under the water, they're always around caves and mines. These things could be from the inner earth, maybe hell, where hell is supposed to be, below. Maybe there's some kind of satanic angels or something, fallen ones, that have technology. Because these crafts have been seen in the sky for hundreds upon hundreds of years, if not thousands of years. So they could be the Nephilim, the fallen ones. I don't know, everyone else jumps to grey aliens and the greys in the north regions of the Nordic type blind people supposed to be. You know, the people say they're people from the future coming back. And there's all different kind of stories that goes on with it. But you never really know, nobody will ever know what they really are. Because you can't track them. They follow you, they make rings around you. As soon as you try to intercept one, it's gone. In the blink of an eye, into the sky, or it's gone straight down to the ocean. Even when it hits the water, it doesn't break the water. There's no splash, there's no nothing, straight through the water like it's not there. And it's gone. So again, there must be some kind of anti-gravity shield that's around it, that when it comes to hit the water, it pushes it away without making a splash. So you have this fellow, I can't think of his name, and he says he's doing it for the greater kind, you know. And then the very first alien autopsy that we get to see, back about in 1995, supposed to be an alien autopsy. Well, that was the CIA. Even if you look at that alien autopsy that was supposed to be done, you can see the skin on the alien. It's like rubber. Even when he's putting the scalpel through his skull, cutting his skull, you can see the scalpel slows down and he has to kind of catch it and pull harder. Now, like human skin, if you put a scalpel here and you do that scalpel, you just do that, it goes pure smooth, slice your whole face off in a second. These things are like, it's like it's clean to rubber, and they're black and white. It's welded in. But it's supposed to be done by the CIA to fool people into thinking that these grey aliens are around the place, you see? And then you have the men in black that turn up. If you see anything in the sky or you see anything, like any lights or any spaceships or anything like that, in U.A.Ps, we won't even call them spaceships because we don't know if they're from space. But U.A.Ps, the men in black are in, and they're supposed to be the CIA as well. So, just a thought, just that I'd just say that when I'm out here by the river, a million miles away from U.A.Ps, out amongst the earth. Just said I'd throw that in there for you to have a little think about that. So I mean, people look, I often look into the skies. Look up into the skies, a lot of times you'll see a lot of stuff going on up there that are not airplanes. Like 6 months ago I seen a little light in the sky shooting across the sky. But I mean, what are you going to tell? They'll tell you it's a star. Ah, that's a new star, it is a moving star. Oh, that's Venus, that's right, Venus is shooting across the sky. About 3 years ago then I see 2 blue stars. I was looking into the sky here in Limerick, beautiful clear sky one night, and I seen a blue star, like a blue star, way up there, way past the airplanes, way up in the heavens, moving across the sky like that. And then I seen another one appearing here, a red one, and the two of them came together like that, the blue one and the red one. They came together, and when they got close together, they stopped for a second, and then one shot off that way, and one shot touched the red one, shot that way, the blue one shot that way. And I was saying to the person alongside me, look at that crack there. And they could see it as well. So what the fuck is that? I said, I'll tell you what it is, some kind of unidentified aerial phenomena, because there ain't no stars moving across, and they're not airplanes. So just a blue light and a red light was 2 different crafts. I mean, if you look into the sky any night, I do a lot of looking into the sky. Pick a clear night, look up at the sky, and I guarantee you, if you're willing to spend an hour looking into that sky, you will see stuff you cannot explain. And then they'll tell you, oh, that's Venus. Venus is doing 30,000 miles an hour this way and that way, and fighter jets are following it and they can't catch it, and it's an illusion, and it's a weather balloon doing 30,000 miles an hour this way, that way, and underwater, and shooting out fires and shooting out lasers at you. They're weather balloons as well. But the moral of the story is there's nothing you can do about it. So they can only scare people into thinking, oh look, this is all going on. What are we going to do about it? Nothing. There's nothing you can do. So you're just going to have to live with it. Right? Live with it. Now, some people say they get abducted or get poked and prodded by these little grey aliens. I mean, they could be the CIA with small people in rubber suits. You get me? The technology today. Just look at the movies they can make. If you're in the studio, make it look like you're floating around in outer fucking space or you're walking on Mars. When you're up in Devon Island above by Canada, where they put their little rovers around the place to do its little training. No more different than Mars. In the summertime, not in the air, the rocks look red, the atmosphere looks red, a little tint over the lens, boom, welcome to Mars, but you're really in Devon Island. That's why when the rover often puts out pictures of Mars, there's a bird flying through the picture. They were saying there's birds on Mars, people were slagging. So that photo was obviously taken in Devon Island as well. So it's all about manipulating the mind and fooling you and controlling you. I mean, like I said, I see things in the sky, but I never seen a U.F.O. But I did see U.A.Ps unidentified aerial phenomena, like them star things, I seen them, but what are they, God knows, are the crafts, couldn't tell you. They just look like a blue star and a red star, going different ways. But as I said, look into the sky, and sometimes you'll see the what you call it coming over, planes will flash with red and green and white lights like that, but that doesn't mean that the U.A.Ps don't do that as well, because they do. They do that also. And sometimes you see the satellite going over slowly across the sky, little white light going across, or like a star, look as well it has. But that'll be your satellites there in space going over, so-called Mir space station and things. I often seen that myself. So, I don't know anyway, I think it's looking down we should be for these things. Down, into the depths of the oceans, into the caves, because a lot of people see these U.F.Os or U.A.Ps and they reckon they're entering caves, big massive caves. The hollow earth theory, these things are coming from the inner earth, and they're telling us they're coming from space. And usually, like when the government tell you something, they never tell you the truth. Usually if they say space, it's inner earth. If they say inner earth, it's space. You don't think for 1 minute that they're going to tell you the truth about anything. They're paid to lie and control us. Government means mind. It's to govern the mind, to control your mind. Just like school, a school of fish. In the school, you must all swim the same way, get indoctrinated like we tell you, and if you don't swim up the river like we tell you, and you think you can veer off some other way, we will give you an X, and say that you're disruptive and you're no good, and you won't listen and we want you out. And you'll say, no, I'm just trying to think to myself. No, you're not in here to think for yourself. You're in here to swim with the rest of the fish in the fishery, and if you do what you're told, and you listen what we say, and you let us indoctrinate you, we'll give you a pass. And a square Freemason hat to put on top of your head, that's your head in a box. Then you can't think for yourself no more, and you think you're the educated person, when in fact, you're the doomed down backward simpleton now, who won't listen to reason and won't listen to nothing. So, it's just a thought anyway. These things are around. We don't know what they are. And I reckon they are satanic, because anyone that ever got abducted by them always said that they've been prodded and poked and needles stuck into their eyes and their chest, and they've taken the eggs out of women. Even some of them say the doctor say, yeah, you're 2 or 3 weeks pregnant or a month pregnant, and then 3 weeks later she'll wake up in the middle of the night, or 3 months later not feeling well. Go to the doctor, next day the doctor say, you're not pregnant anymore. And the woman said, how can that be? And he goes, look, we don't know how that happens, it just happens, but it's best not to talk about it. He said, you're young, you can go on to have more children. So it's like they're covering up something as well. And in the Bible and all that, it talks about when the satanic realm mixes the seed of man with the seed of the satanic realm, they're manipulating the genes to make us not in the likeness and image of God anymore, but in the image of the beast system, AI, artificial intelligence, intertwined with us. So that's why all them things that people were getting, well, you want to do the research on them and see all the blood clots people get from them. And the blood clots aren't like your average blood clot, they look like living worms inside them. Now, I'm not saying that's true, but I've seen stuff on it. Doctors are saying it. You get onto YouTube, people posting videos, proper doctors, real genuine doctors saying there's something not right with all this. You know, all the cover-ups about all the people that slipped off the perch, all ages, went in healthy, got ill, and fevers, and then slipped off the perch. Blood clots again. It's all covered up then by the fake news. Because all the fake news do as well is control you. I mean, the CIA control most of the news outlets in America. And the same here in Ireland. There's loads of CIA operatives here in Ireland. And you need to buy the 5 top selling newspapers and control the top 5 news networks, channels, and then you don't worry about the little channels and the little newspapers, you just control the top ones, the ones that most people read, and that's what they believe. And if you say, oh, I read such a thing on another paper, or I seen this on another news channel, they'd say, oh, but they're only small news channels, they don't know what they're talking about. So the CIA have it all wrapped up and they've been doing it for years. So your little rubber aliens in their latex, the little fake alien autopsies. And when people do get abducted, they've been brainwashed and they've been prodded and poked and MK Ultra, and then they can't remember a damn thing. It comes back under hypnosis. If you're under hypnosis, God knows what you'll be thinking. The water's nice over here now for salmon fishing. Perfect water for a bit of salmon fishing in fairness nowadays. I just had to come out there for the evening, do no fast video, get a bit of fresh air. It's nice to get out to the river and sit down and get away from the city. Even though, like, where I come from, the city, I'm living in Limerick, it's a small city, but still, you need to get a break from it all. Not like you get out to the river and listen to the cows and listen to the birds and listen to the water. Listen to the cars that's coming over at me. But I'm on the country road here in the middle of nowhere, so there are farmers going home and people from the country. When you're out the river, your five senses are fulfilled. See, when you're home, you're bored, your senses don't get filled in concrete jungle. You have walls, television, radio, frequencies, 5G, all that's going on around you all the time. You're like in a tangle of webs. And when you come out to the river, you can smell. That senses comes to life. Your fingers start touching stones, sand, grass, water, more senses that you don't get in your house every day. Right? You're hearing, you start listening to birds and cows and the wind blowing through the trees and the water flowing over the waterfall. More senses. There's a kingfisher just gone down there. You might have seen him coming down this way. More fulfillment for the eyes. So all your five senses, sense of touch, your sense of taste, your sight, your hearing, your smell, all the five senses are constantly being fulfilled. And that's why it's always so relaxing by the river. That's why when people go to the river, you find it very relaxing, because your five senses are activated and they're constantly hearing different things, looking at different things, and feeling and touching and smelling different things. That's why when you're at home, it's the same smell. It's the same thing, the same walls, the same television. There's nothing to fulfill the senses. You become like a robot. Then they put crap on the TV to dumb you down more. In the radio, you've nothing but satanic songs sung by women that dress like whores to go up on stage, and like Nicki Minaj and them, and that Miley Cyrus the other day was dancing around with a strap on up on stage with a 12-inch lad hanging off a strap on, and she had another girl in front of her, by the way, going sucking this. And this was on stage for children. And people are letting their children watch all that, right? It's a wonder we're getting dragged into the satanic realm. They're normalising sex. Children, they have them going around. If you look at the children in the city, they're dressing like the women used to dress. They're dressing like the way prostitutes used to dress. Now the children have little short pants and spade on them, little short tops. It's all there to be seen. They're trying to sexualise the children. Before you know it, they're trying to normalise paedophilia. They'll say, oh, paedophilia is like the way they talk about heroin. No, oh, he's sick. If you smoke a spliff, you can get arrested and you'll be put locked up and in court. But if you're caught smoking heroin, oh, he's sick. Not nothing, sure. But if you're caught with a spliff, they want to lock you up. But the heroin, nothing wrong with you. The same with paedophilia. They're going to do the same. They're going to call that a sickness, and they're going to want to normalise that and let the people off of it. And at the minute, what they call fashion is another way to destroy your children, to dress them up like pimps and prostitutes around the place. The boys are going around with tight pants as well. They're starting to dress like girls. Every day, now I seen another ad on the the internet the other day about these put latex pants on fellas. And then the little flags that comes out with in June with the little Pride month. Pride. Another an insult to God. Because the rainbow is the covenant between God and the earth, that he wouldn't flood the earth again. That was God's covenant, right? They took it, they hijacked that rainbow, they hijacked that flag. And now they fly for disgusting, vile acts that men want to do with little children. And people are bringing their children in around these men that are dressed up like women, that have sick thoughts in their mind for your children. And the parents are letting it happen. But I think there's a slight bit of a turn now. People are starting to cop onto it. As far as I know, even RTE here in Ireland, not RT, no, the Russian channel, that they've blocked out and shut down. Because you can't get them because they want you to know nothing about Russia. So they all one-sided to Ukraine. You see, they don't want you to have your own, make your own, up your own mind at all by having both sides of the argument. No, we won't give you their side of the argument, we'll just give you that side and we'll brainwash you with that side. And as I said, they make them fly Ukrainian flags around Ireland. But if the news come on tomorrow and say take down the Ukrainian flags, we were wrong, hoist up the Russian flags, that's who we're supporting, all the fools will take down the Ukrainian flags and hoist up the Russian flags. That's what they would do. That's what they would do because they can't think for themselves. We shouldn't be siding with any one particular side, okay? Yes, it's not nice to wars, man. And this could be stopped long ago. Joe Biden could have stopped this, but they don't want to. Because they're pumping billions and billions of dollars worth of weapons out there to the Ukrainian. And the Ukrainian people are getting used like cannon fodder. But the American military industrial complex is making billions off of this. And we all know at the end of the day, the Ukraine are going to have to give up some land. They're going to have to give up land to the Russians. No matter what, Russia will be taking some of their land, and that's going to be it. This could have been stopped long ago, but no, Joe Biden didn't want it stopped. He wants the war to continue on, so the American military industrial complex that JFK spoke about, that told that JFK in his speech said that the American military industrial complex is trying to rule the world and you've got to be careful to what they're doing. And he was whacked for his chat. So they're making billions off it with weapons. These people, they don't give a fuck about the Ukrainian people or the children of Ukraine. They don't give a shit. They just, doesn't matter. It's all about making money. They don't care. They don't give a shit about you, me, your family, nothing. Anyway, I don't want to go on too much of a rant. Look, so anyway, sub up to the channel if you want to. I didn't do videos in a long time, but I'm going to start doing a few again on different subjects. I used to have hundreds upon hundreds of videos on every subject going. From the geoengineering to the fluoride, to CERN, the Higgs boson, the God particle, witchcraft, satanic, the realm, technology, AI, 5G, cryptocurrency, all the stuff that's going to take away our freedoms. I had them videos out for years, and then YouTube terminated my channel. And then I had another channel, and they terminated that. So then I opened another channel, and I only had 7 subscribers, and they terminated that. That's how much they were watching me. So I'm going to try and upload a few videos again now and see how I get on. But I'll keep them as backup. Usually I just upload them like the bottom, delete the files, but now I'm going to upload them and save the files. So when they do delete me, I'll be able to upload them again. If you think you can get some information out of this and you can use it to your ability, because as far as I know, in June is the month of the month of science. It's in the religion. It's a very big month for saints and scholars and stuff like that, and that's why the Pride decided to take that month and turn it on its head and destroy it and That's the month, that's why they picked it, right? Same when Christmas comes to be burning down the Christmas trees, and nobody knows when Jesus was born, that's a fact. And a lot of these stuff are pagan religions, like Halloween is pagan, you shouldn't be celebrating that. Christmas is pagan, you shouldn't be celebrating that. You know? In Jeremiah, I think 18 to 22 in Jeremiah, God tells Jeremiah to tell the people to don't send the woodsman out to the woods and cut the tree down and bring it home and fasten it to the floor with nails and decorate it with gold and silver. Don't do that. That's what the heathens do. That's what God told Jeremiah. Now we celebrate, and then you have Santa, Satan, S-A-N-T-A, S-A-T-A-N, Satan. He comes down through fire, he dresses in red, he's a glutton, one of the 7 deadly sins, gluttony, and he's fat, and he's a glutton. Because when you're a glutton, it means you have no respect for your body, and you're eating more food than you should. So you're doing 2 things in one. You shouldn't be doing one, you shouldn't be abusing your body, because your body's your temple, and 2, you shouldn't be eating food that other people could be eating. They need it. There's no shortage of food in the world, they just say that. They're letting famines occur, they let all that happen. They have no problem pumping 30, 40, 50, 100 billion into war every year. But they can't put it into food and feed the people around the world that's starving. That would easily feed the people of the world that's starving, give them a way to live off the land, water to irrigate the land to be able to sustain themselves. All that would be do that. But no, we'll give you the illusion, collect care for the famine, for the people around the world, but not about the 100 billion they send on weapons killing people. But yet in the next part of the news they'll tell you, we should be helping the starving. But in the meantime we need to spend 100 billion to kill a load of more people. So, no, you've been manipulated. They does it from the time we're in school, as I said, they get you from the time you're young. I'll have to break this video down into 2 now, don't you know, and put out as two videos. Well, I don't want them to be too long, so I'll put out part 1 and part 2. But, so sub up to my channel if you want to, and hit the bell for notifications. Share it if you like. If you can get something for it, leave a comment below, whether you agree or disagree with me. Leave a little comment in the comment section. I'll answer you back. Try not to make it too long, try and make it short, make it sweet. And if you do put a comment down, don't put down a comment about something that I've already given my opinion on, and then expect me to give my opinion on that again. Unless you have something to counteract my opinion, then I'll be able to get back to you. But people often put comments into my videos and they're telling me stuff that I already talked about. And they'll give me back information I just gave out, and I'll be thinking, sure, I just told you that. So, I mean, you need to approach your argument in a different angle. So, or your debate, not your argument, your debate, you know, your point of view, or your opinion. I'll give you a look around. What am I? That arch bridge you see there, that's an iron bridge. It's built in 1818 by Barrington, Dr. Barrington. It's called Barrington's Bridge. This is the new bridge they put here about 10 or 12 years ago. See this wall I'm sitting on here? It used to be great for salmon here. You fish there, you try worms in there, and you'd leave them go down along there, bang bang. You'll be getting them there, but ever since they built the bridge, well, they fucked that up. But it's still a great river. This is the Newport River. Because it comes down through Newport, which is about 10 miles as the crow flies. Probably 17 miles by the river. 10 miles as the crow flies. And it goes off down there. When it comes out there, what's called about 3 miles down the river, it meets the Mulcair River. We call it the Meetings, where the 2 rivers meet. And then the both of them float down through the Mulcair and out onto the Shannon River, and then that heads out into the Atlantic Ocean. See that stuff there? Oops. That's hogweed. A wild rhubarb. Get 3rd-degree burns off it. I got destroyed when I was a child, so if you touch it, you'll get big blisters. But I can grab that now and do what I like of it and rub it in my hands, but I won't get no blisters because I'm immune to it. Because I got destroyed when I was a child. So your body adapts. So I became immune to it. Most people won't go near that stuff, they barely touch off it. I'll just give you a little idea. This is hogweed. And I'll show you up here in a minute what they'll say about it. Do not go at this stuff, right? A minute, I'll zoom back. Do not go at this stuff. Some people, if they just do that now, they'll break out blisters. You most definitely don't pull it apart like that. And see that stuff in it there? On my fingers now, you can see all that stuff there, that wet stuff. See all that? That's what gives you your 3rd-degree burns now. By right, I should get all blisters now tomorrow of that. But I can do what I like with that. There you go. I'll show you up here on the sign. Do what I like with it. Crush it, do what I like. Nothing will happen. Nothing. Because I got destroyed from head to toe when I was a child. So, that's the crack with that. I'll just go up here now and get my bag. And I'll show you up here now what to say about the hogweed. I might put out one full video, then again I might just break it into 15-20 minute videos, whatever. That's the crayfish. They're trying to say that the crayfish are bad for the river. For years they told you the crayfish was a good sign. That if you had crayfish in the river, it meant the river was clean. Now they tell you if you have crayfish in the river that they're poisoning the river, so don't get me started. So there's the weed, obviously, just that. Hogweed. 1-inch joint hogweed, do not touch. I can go down there it is there. Break it off, nothing happens. It's amazing at what the human body can do. Because I got destroyed when I was a child. At me 2-3 times I got destroyed and it blisters all over the place, head to toe, it was like a bubble. The body became immune to it. So now nothing happens when I touch it. Just as I showed you there a second ago. Some people can't even just, some people just breeze off it, some people just breeze off with their hand and they break out blisters. Anyway, it's a beautiful evening. I enjoyed my little sit down there now, my bit of fresh air. So I'm going to make my way back in the road. Open this here now. Give you an idea. Do not touch. Now see all that stuff on my hand there now. I should get destroyed now by touching all that. It should burn me, 3rd-degree burns. I should have blisters everywhere tomorrow. My hand should swell up like a balloon. Most people would never do that. Never touch it. As I said, because you will be burnt to 3rd degree. It's like you put your hand into fire. And you will regret it because it burns. It's like you burnt your hand on fire. So anyway, with that said people, God bless and I'll talk to you later. Boom! That's it lads, we're out here. Trying to be out in the evening, a lovely bit of fresh air. So in the meantime, 3, 2, 1, hit it! Whether you're a mother or whether you're a brother, you're staying alive.